Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Amarat Quintanilla. I am the training coordinator with the West Business Development Center. And for those of you who may not know about the West Business Development Center, we are a federally funded nonprofit organization that provides free or no cost business advising to Lake and Mendocino County residents. And if you are not a Lake or Mendocino County resident, we are also a part of the SBDC network. And so we have regional advisors all over that can help assist you with business matters. We also provide free or reduced cost trainings like the one you're on today. So thank you for joining us. Rahsaan, could you go to the next 2 slides for me? Thank you. Awesome. So yes, this webinar is brought to you by West Business Development Center, but we are powered and funded through the Small Business Administration. We are also the host of the Mendocino and Lake County Small Business Development Center, as well as the Women's Business Center. We also receive funding through the state of California, as well as other organizations that help us bring these trainings and advising to you guys. So this is what makes West tick. And if you have any questions or concerns about this, again, type it in the chat box. And if you would like to become a West Center client and work with an advisor for free, you can email me at amarat@westcenter.org, and I will type that in the chat. Or you can just visit our website, westcenter.org, and go to the Get Started button at the top right corner. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Rahsaan to get started. Thank you so much, Rahsaan, for being here.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. Obviously, Zoom has become a very important part of everybody's lives in the day-to-day, and a huge part of helping our businesses stay connected. So I'm here to help cover the basics and answer any questions that anybody might have as far as using the app, getting more out of it if you have troubleshooting issues. As Amarat mentioned, I'm happy to help answer any of those questions as well. First, I'm going to go ahead and start with basics, and we'll get to the question and answer session at the end. So I'm going to start with basic use. We're going to cover, definitions, what a meeting is, downloading the app for the first time. If you're here, you probably have the app already, but just in case, I have the download link in the next page here. We're also going to cover first time setup, setting the settings just the way you like them, making sure you have everything set up properly, and inviting others to your meetings, and also accepting invitations from others. The second section is going to be meeting management, which is going to be scheduling a meeting in advance and ending a meeting. Finally, we'll have a troubleshooting section. I'll cover some of the most common troubleshooting issues people have, which tend to be audio and visual issues, again, as Amarat mentioned. And we'll cover those in brief, and I'll provide a link for more information. And then we'll get to the questions and answers. So first, what a meeting is. Since you're all here, again, you probably already know this, but bear with me. A Zoom meeting is a live call between 2 or more people. It certainly can be video, and most often is, but you can also do it just as an audio call. And as Amarat mentioned again, if you're not the host of the meeting, it is possible to use a landline or a cell phone just to call like you would call someone else's phone and be in a Zoom meeting with them that way. Of course, you wouldn't have video, but you could still participate in the call. The host is the person who starts the meeting, and they have control over all of the settings in the meeting. So they're the ones who allow or stop other people's video or audio from showing up. They're the ones who control all the security settings, which we'll get to a little bit later. They're also the ones who send out invitations to anybody or provide links and all of that kind of information to log on to the meeting. And one thing that's very important is you must have a microphone. You don't have to have a webcam, so if you're using a desktop computer, you can still join a meeting, but you have to have some kind of microphone. Otherwise, of course, you won't be able to participate. Let's see. So, as I said, we'll just cover installation really quickly, since I'm sure all of you, or at least most of you, have Zoom already. But if you navigate to their website, which is zoom.us, you can go directly to the download center and download the newest version of the app. They did send out some pretty big security updates recently to, well, the most important part was that they made passwords the norm. So whenever you start a meeting now, it'll automatically have a password so that random people can't join like they have been doing up to this point, and what people have been calling Zoom bombing, where random people will join in your meeting. So they put a stop to that, thankfully. So if you don't have the latest version, the best thing to do is to go to the website and to update the app so that you have all of those security features. All right, now this is what the app homepage looks like. It's pretty straightforward. It just has all the features you need, not a lot of clutter or anything. Now, for the most part, what you're going to be doing is using that orange new meeting button to be the host and to send invites to others, like we talked about. There's also, of course, an option to join a meeting, to schedule a meeting for later, or to share your screen. And we'll cover those in just a moment. Now, when you are the host of a meeting, as I said, you are in charge of inviting others to the meeting. Once you've hit that orange start a meeting button, it will take you to the screen that you're probably looking at right now. And at the bottom, if you're the host, you'll have access to this menu bar that you see on the screen now, where you can turn video on and off, turn audio on and off. You can change security settings. And one of the most important buttons here is right next to security, where it says manage participants. That allows you to invite new people using email. You can send people a link so they can click directly on it and join that way. You can also kick people out of the meeting if you want to, if they're uninvited guests, or you're having a business meeting and you want to reduce the number of people who are in the meeting. You can do that with the manage participants button as well. All right, inviting others. This is, of course, one of the most important features. When you are already in a meeting and you hit that Manage Participants button, it will bring you to the menu that you see on the very right-hand side of the screen there, where it says Participants, and it lists just me. So down at the bottom of that section, you will, there we go, you'll see an option that says Invite. Now, if you hit that, it'll bring up the other menu that's kind of in the middle of the screen there, where it says invite people to join the meeting. You can pick which email app you use. A lot of people use Gmail, I do myself, or whatever email app or service you use. You can sign in there and then send people an invitation via email. That's usually the normal method, I find. It's the most convenient for people to just receive an email from you. It'll have that blue hyperlink in there that they can click, and it will automatically join them into the meeting. You can also go ahead and hit that copy URL button at the bottom, which will allow you to manually send that same link to other people. You can text it to them if you'd like, or you can email it to them manually if you don't want to go through the process of logging into your email through the app. All right, scheduling a meeting for the future. This is pretty common with business meetings, since most of them are not impromptu. The best way to do that is, again, from the home page in the app. Just below that orange new meeting button is the schedule button. That will bring up a schedule for you. You can set the meeting date and time and choose your people to invite, your invitees, in advance, and it will send them an email as soon as you complete scheduling. So it will go ahead and send them that email in advance. You can also have it remind them at any point. I believe you can have it remind them an hour or 15 minutes or whenever you like in advance of the meeting, so that you make sure that your invitees can make it. You can also, that integrates with Google Calendar and other online calendars as well, so that it will show up in your calendar automatically and also in the calendar of people that you invite. All right, ending a meeting. This is maybe the second most important part of having a meeting. Now, there are two important options. It's pretty straightforward, but again, on that bar, when you're the host at the bottom, in the right-hand side, you can see the red End Meeting button. That will bring up an option that will allow you to either leave the meeting or end the meeting for all. Leaving the meeting keeps the meeting open if there are other participants so that they can keep having a meeting, they can keep talking even after you leave, and you would assign a new host, whoever you would like the new host to be when you leave. Or you can click End Meeting for All, and that will simply end the meeting for everybody. All right, and screen sharing. This is another important example of a feature that you can use in Zoom. You can, if you're presenting like I am now, or you want to show something on your computer to others, whether it be pictures or some work that you're working on, if you're in the middle of creating a website, which is especially important these days, you can show it to others using that screen share button. Again, it's going to be on the home screen of the app. There's a screen share option, or when you are in a meeting, there's a screen share on that same bottom bar as the host for screen sharing. When you click that screen share button, it will show you a menu like the one up on the right-hand side of the screen now that gives you the chance to select what you want to show on the screen. So you can see here all the apps that I have open on my computer. So you can, if you wanted to do Microsoft Word, for example, or you have a PowerPoint presentation like this that you want to show, or a photo app, you want to be able to show some photos off to people who are in your meeting, you can go ahead and select that specific app, or you can select it to show whatever is on your screen at the time, so you can switch between apps. Now that's important because you want to make sure that you're selecting the correct app and not showing your desktop, which is an option where it will just show a blank desktop screen or show things that you don't necessarily want to show in the meeting. Now to stop sharing, you would go to the button at the top right-hand side of the screen. It's kind of in the middle there. It has a white square in red and it says stop sharing. And that would just bring you back to the meeting. It won't end the meeting. It'll just stop showing your screen to others. All right, and the settings menu in Zoom, which is important for managing security settings, video settings. You may have noticed the background on my screen is not really what I'm standing in front of, but that is an option in the Zoom settings. You can go into video settings and you can change the background to a stock background if you would rather not show off your messy house or your business area. If you want to just have a clean, simple background or something creative like this, you can do that in the Zoom video settings. All right, troubleshooting. This is another very important aspect, and often problems will come up when you first start using the app. Either you're not able to be seen or heard, or you're not able to see or hear others. Now, those options might seem overwhelming at first, but in general, they're actually pretty easy to fix and pretty consistent. So if you do have those kind of issues, I'm happy to answer specific questions in the Q&A coming up, or I'll cover a couple of basics right now. Let's see. Now, the first thing you want to do when you first start using the app, there's an option that'll pop up that will automatically test your audio and video. I highly recommend doing that. The app will walk you through how to set it up and make sure that it can hear and see you. So these are some very basic instructions for troubleshooting in Windows, which is what I use. If you have questions that are outside of this, feel free to ask them, or I also have a link here in red to the Zoom troubleshooting page, which has much more depth. It goes into much more depth about specific issues. Also, if you're on Macintosh, which I'm certainly not an expert in, I don't use a lot, and you're having issues on your Mac, they will cover them there in depth as well. Now, as far as audio issues, which are the most common, the thing you want to do in Windows is go into your sound settings. So I have a picture here of how to get to the Windows Start menu. If you click on that Start menu and type in sound settings, it'll take you right to where you need to be, which looks like this. It might be a little overwhelming at first. There's a lot of information there. But when you look at it, it's pretty straightforward. Output is the speakers or what you hear. It's the sound that your computer is creating. Input is the microphone, which is what others hear. You want to make sure that your volume is up for both the output and the input. That's one of the most common things is people discover once they've gotten into a Zoom meeting that they've had mute on this whole time, and that's what's causing them not to be able to hear other people. Now, if you are using your computer settings, the computer speakers and microphone to be specific, it should list those in the output and the input. If you're using headphones that have a microphone built in, it should list the same device for both the output and the input. So when you're in this menu, you can go ahead and click on the output and the input device, and it will show you a few options generally, and you want to click on the one that you are planning to use. It's easiest to use the computer audio to begin with, but if you do have a headset or headphones you'd like to use, go ahead and plug them in before you get into this menu, and then they should show up in that drop-down menu there, and you can go ahead and click on them and then test them and make sure that they will work with the app. If you have internet connectivity issues, if you have slow or no internet, as some folks do in this area, the best thing to do to start with is to ask others to host the meeting. That way, the bulk of the information will be going through them, and it lightens the load on your internet. If you have no internet connection, the best thing to do is to use that call-in function. So ask the host, whoever's hosting the meeting, to send you the unique phone number to call on your landline or on your cell phone, and it will use cell towers instead of internet data, which is generally much easier and will kind of side skirt those internet issues, and you can still be in the call. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. If you guys have any specific questions, feel free to ask them now, and I will do my best to answer them.
Awesome, thank you so much, Rahsaan. We did have a question from Bob. Can you tell me how Zoom can be made secure or confidential for legal meetings? He's an attorney, and confidentiality and security are huge issues for him. So any suggestions on that?
Yes, absolutely. So Zoom has been implementing a lot more security features, as I mentioned at the beginning. They do use end-to-end encryption. They use fairly advanced InfoSec, which is information security software. Now, it's not encrypted when it goes through their servers. So if you need something more secure, what I recommend doing is checking their website. They have paid options that allow you to use more security features. They do sign HIPAA agreements if you have certain types of services with them that will make it completely secure and high-level end-to-end encrypted, so that if you're dealing with personal or private information like that, as I imagine you sometimes do, you will be completely protected with an agreement like that. Otherwise, there are security features that you can change even with a free plan. If you go into those Zoom settings, as I talked about earlier, the little gear option in the upper right-hand corner of the Zoom app, and then you go into advanced settings, it'll take you to their website where you have to log in. So you have to sign up for an account, but it's free. Then you can change security settings for the app for whenever you use it to make it somewhat more secure. I don't know if that would be secure enough for you. You'd have to look at that for yourself, but you can certainly explore some more security options there and change settings to your liking.
Awesome. He says, thank you very much for the info. That was just what he was after, so great.
Sure.
Any other questions that we can field at this time? Not seeing any other questions come in, but if you have any questions regarding Zoom meetings, setting them up, any other security issues, please let us know.
So I will say, as far as updates go, it's very important to keep the app updated because they do upgrade those security features pretty often. When you open up the Zoom app, you'll see if they have updates available, a little window will pop down from the top that will say, updates available, please update now. And I would recommend as soon as you see that, go ahead and update as soon as possible. The recent security update was a big one, and it makes a lot of changes to the way the app works and makes your information in your meetings a lot more secure. So I definitely recommend as soon as you have that option, please do go ahead and update the app.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have another comment. Thanks. I'm happy to know that I'll receive the slides since my notes aren't perfect. No worries. You will, just to reiterate, everyone will receive a copy of the slide deck today and a copy of the recording as well via email within 24 hours of this webinar. We do have another question. Hold on. Okay, she says, I am interested in how to expand to panel of presenters, use a different camera that covers a seated group. So I'm guessing you want to have more people as panel presenters in your meetings. If you want to clarify on that question a little bit more, Sharon, we can help you out.
In the meantime, I'll just say if you do want to use a separate camera with your computer, go ahead and plug it in and then go back into those Zoom settings like I was talking about. You can go to the video settings and it will have a drop-down menu that will allow you to select the camera that you want to use if you have more than one. So if you have, for example, like a wide lens that would show more than one person at a time, you can go ahead and select that manually and Zoom will update to allow for that use instead of the webcam that's built into your computer.
Okay, okay. I believe she might be adding something else, so I'm going to wait for her response on that. But if you are wanting to present via webinar style, that would be a different option or upgrade in your Zoom account. So if you're interested in that, you would have to go into your account settings on Zoom and upgrade to the webinar version, which is a little bit more per month, but you would be able to have webinars with up to 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
So she did respond. She said, I am interested in shared moderator roles.
Okay, so sure. As the host, and I believe this is an upgraded feature as well, so you may need to look at the options that are available for Zoom for free or Zoom for Business, which is a paid upgrade. But that does give you the option to nominate co-hosts, basically, so that you can have more than one person hosting the meeting at a time. It gives you a lot more features, a lot more customizability as far as what kind of options you have in the meeting, like co-hosting or presenter options like Emily was talking about. And so that's something to explore in the Zoom website. And then also in the Zoom settings as well, you can play around with some of those settings and customize it the way that you like it.
Thank you so much. Any other questions at this time that we can help you out with? She says, thank you. Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to leave the question open, but I'm going to go ahead and launch a quick webinar poll to get some feedback on our webinar today. So if you guys have a moment, we would really appreciate any feedback on today's webinar. We have just 4 questions here, and it should pop up on your screen if you are on a computer or phone or tablet. And you should be able to answer the 4 questions on your screen. So I'll leave that up for a moment for you guys to answer those questions. And still, if you have any questions for Rahsaan, we will still be answering those as well. So. Awesome. Thank you so much for responding to our poll. We really appreciate your feedback, as we're always trying to provide quality webinars for you guys. And if there are any topics that are similar to this, or maybe that you would like more information about Zoom or any other tech platforms, please let us know in the chat box. We're always looking for new ideas and topics to teach on. So yes, Ron, we will definitely get you the contact information. When I send out via email to everyone, I'll include the contact information for Rahsaan.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions, if you have any difficulties with the app, or with any computer technology in general. I have a local business here myself, Digital Forest Computers, and I'm happy with any kind of issues or any kind of questions you guys might have. Feel free to reach out.
It's Digital Forest Computers. So I'm going to type that in the chat box.
Thanks.
Okay, we do have a couple more questions. We have a message from Laura. I will be attending a Zoom meeting on Friday in the morning. Will I be able to see all of the participants?
So that's based on a couple of different things. One of them is going to be the host's settings. So they get to decide who gets shown primarily. So they can choose different types of views, like gallery view or speaker view. Speaker view will show only the person who's talking at the moment. It'll highlight that person, and then it'll switch between people depending on who's talking. A gallery view shows a small thumbnail picture, like a very small picture on the screen of everybody who's in the meeting, everybody that it can show, I believe up to 100. Anyways, quite a few very small pictures. But that's up to the host. And then as a participant, you can also change what you see. So you can go back into those video settings and you can choose how you want to view the other participants in the meeting. So you can customize your layout. You can change where those thumbnails show up on your screen so that you can have them in one corner or another, depending on how you like to have your screen set up. So if that's a question for you, definitely talk to the host and ask them how they're setting it up, and then you can change your screen to fit your style, just the way you like it.
Great, thank you. Great question. And I'm not seeing any more questions in our QA section, so we'll still be taking a few more questions if you have it. Thank you, Laura, no problem. Any other questions for Rahsaan? Well, if we don't have any other questions, Rahsaan, would you like to share anything else before we close out?
No, I think we covered everything. And like I said, if you have any further questions, anybody, feel free to reach out, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rahsaan, for your time and your wonderful presentation today. Again, if you are interested in working directly with an advisor or like to see any more of these future webinars, we'll have another one coming up in 2 weeks. Same Wednesday at 3 o'clock, as we'll be rolling out our ABC series. So stay tuned to our website and social media accounts for updates on that. And visit our website, westcenter.org, for any further information or to get started. Or you can always give us a call as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.